Hi, I'm George from NBI Hockey,
And I'm Brody from BroalieTalksHockey.
and welcome back to Winning on Paper. No special guests today, um, but we are going to be talking a little bit about the Stanley Cup Final, and then we're going to be covering the Metropolitan Division offseason previews. So we'll be touching on what we think they should do in the draft if they have a first-round pick, just some guys they could be targeting in free agency and trades, and then we'll be kind of giving a vague outline of where we think they'll end up next season. Obviously, we'll do a proper season preview things in like August or September or whatever, but
Mm-hmm.
this will be kind of a good vague intro to that.
Yeah.
And we're starting with the Metro. I don't know if I mentioned that, but yeah. So first of all, Stanley Cup Final, Vegas, Florida, just like we all predicted. Um, and what are your kind of initial thoughts on the
I,
final?
I actually think this will be a very entertaining cup final. Like, it's not what I expected, but I do think it'll be entertaining. Like, the entertainment value will be there. Like, Kachuk is actually very entertaining.
Oh yeah,
I hated him when he was in Calgary. Like, with all the fibers of my being. I did not like him. But I don't know what it is about him in Florida. Like, did Paul Maurice tell him to smarten up or something? Or like he doesn't play with that dirty grit anymore. Like it's just
yeah.
now like that power forward like that I can respect, you know?
Could just be maturity too. Like I know Marchand kind of had that too, where just as he aged, he just became like just a really good player. Like I think that's probably the best like style comp I can come up with because Marchand as a younger player was like he had some suspension history and
Right.
he didn't have the offensive explosion kind of capability that he does now, or at least did in his prime. I guess he's still really good now, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And Kachuk's kind of finding that too, where he's like still really annoying to play against, but he's not like a like quote unquote dirty player
Right.
anymore.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of
I think he
like
struck
that
that balance,
evolution.
yeah.
Yeah, that evolution is really similar.
But yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
I think it'll be good. Like it'll be the weirdest goalie battle cup final, but I think it can still be a goalie battle. Like Aiden Hill versus Bobrovsky. And it's like this is two narratives coming against each other that have battled for so long. Like it'll finally be, do you need a workhorse goalie to win a cup, or is goaltending so random? And I think a lot of
Yeah,
people will base that off what happens. Like it's not fair to base it off 1 year, but like I
I
think
mean,
a lot of people will have come with that conclusion.
in fairness, like I still don't think the workhorse goalie argument would be valid for this, seeing as Bobrovsky wasn't the starter going into the playoffs. But
No,
I understand like how people could
yeah,
conflate that, being like, oh well, you can pay a goalie $10.5 million and it works out. It's like, well, listen, like the idea was Bobrovsky wasn't going to play at all in these playoffs
right.
2 months
And
ago. So
we'll
like,
finally have a person who's making 10 mil winning the cup, so that argument can finally be put to bed. It's already been to bed a
I
while,
guess it
but
would be either way, right? Because
it's Eichel or
Eichel's over
Bobrovsky.
10, yeah. Because
So now
Stone's
the
at nine and
argument's
a
no
half,
one
right?
over 10.1 wins the cup. And I'm like, what? That's
Yeah.
just moving the goalpost. That is ridiculous. I saw NHL posted that. I'm like, are you kidding? That is
Nice.
gross.
That's hilarious. But I mean, the whole cap percentage thing has been put to death anyway, so whatever. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
some people still
Um,
still think somehow.
well,
All
yeah.
right. What's
All right.
your cup
Prediction.
final
Go.
prediction?
Well, I kind of can't pick against Florida now. It's just on brand. So I'm gonna go
Yeah.
Vegas in 6. Um,
Yeah.
Although like I would pick, even if like I could give myself the opportunity to pick Florida, I wouldn't.
Right.
In this case, I think Vegas is just a better team. And I really want to
Yeah.
see them win a cup because I really like Jack Eichel. I love Mark Stone. I love Shea Theodore. And I think Florida still has a pretty big window of opportunity here, obviously, despite the
Hmm.
fact that I think they got carried heavily by goaltending in one player. But I think they still have a really bright future. Like a lot of their pieces are really young, and I think I said it in our offseason preview that like Florida kind of extended their contending window with the Huberdeau trade.
Yeah.
I mentioned that somewhere. I think it was on the
It
podcast,
was
but
here,
like,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, clearly I didn't think they'd be a cup final. Like I thought they'd take a step back this year, and if it wasn't for Sergei Bobrovsky, they probably would have. Um, but
Yeah.
yeah, like this team's still gonna be pretty good for the next like 4 or 5 years. Um, and Vegas is just fun. Like I want to see a cup raid in Vegas. That sounds like Florida's like the state of Florida's had too many like victories in the last like 3 years. It's time to
Yeah.
not become the next Boston. Like
Right.
Spin it
Yeah.
around a little bit. But yeah, what about you? What's your prediction?
See, I have Vegas in 7, but like my heart I want to see Florida win, but I
Oh,
think
Florida would be
Vegas
so
will
much
win
fun.
in 7. That's what I
Florida's has
think.
like it has the most meme potential because it'd be hilarious.
Yeah.
But like, yeah,
And Paul Maurice winning a cup the year after he quits in Winnipeg, I think would be very funny as well.
oh, yeah, that'd be
I
great.
think the org will blow to shambles after that. So that's good. Like to see it. And if
Yeah.
Bobrovsky wins a cup, someone's going to pay a shit ton of money for Connor Hellebuyck. So
Oh,
we're going
I
to see
mean,
some
somebody's gonna do
crazy
that
goalie
anyway.
trades. And
I feel
Saros
like,
might get traded at the draft.
yeah,
So
maybe. Could you
that's
imagine
what.
that in Nashville? Whew, that'd be fun. That'd be an
Yeah, well,
awesome
people are
ride.
going to go crazy.
Yeah,
And
that
not
would
a
be.
good kind of crazy.
Yeah. No, I can't see them moving Saros in Nashville at the draft. We'll get to the Central
Yeah, we
when
will.
we get
We
to the
will.
Central.
Yeah,
That seems like a pretty good transition to move into the
the
main part of this
draft.
podcast.
Yeah.
Well, no, the Metro Division because that's what we're covering
Yes, that's right.
today. Which we will cover part of the draft, but we're
Right.
gonna do this. We're gonna do this alphabetically. That's it. You wanted. That's you didn't have anything else for the Cup final. I don't think.
No, no, that's it. I'm
Okay.
ready to move on to Carolina
Yeah.
here.
All right. So yeah, we're gonna move. We're gonna do this alphabetically. Unless I miss somebody, then we're not gonna do it alphabetically. But I think I have it under control.
Yeah.
Um, the Carolina Hurricanes are our first team. Ironically, the last team out of the Metro to make the play go the furthest in the playoffs is what I'm trying to say. And they'll be picking. Do we know where they're picking at? I think
They are picking at, well, they would be picking because they finished
30th, right?
higher than Dallas, so they'd be 30th. Yeah.
30th, yeah. Okay. So yeah, they're gonna be picking 30th in the draft, kind of the first round. I guess we'll start there. We'll start with the draft.
Yeah.
What do you think is an ideal fit for them, uh, draft wise?
See, I have two guys, and it's like two different directions, and they're two of my favorite guys of this
Mm-hmm.
draft. So the first one is someone I talked about in the draft podcast. I
Mm-hmm.
think Jaden Perron fits in Carolina, like what they do. I think
Yeah.
he'd fit there so well. Like he just reminds me of Seth Jarvis when I watch him play. So
Yeah.
like I kind of get that comparison, and I'm like, I think he has speed. He's good on the forecheck. That's Carolina. And then the other guy that I think would fit very well is Will Whitelaw, who's also like if they want to add size, that's the fit because he's a,
Mm-hmm.
a big guy, one of the best forecheckers in the draft, and yeah, that's really Carolina to me. So that's why I got those two there.
Yeah. I could definitely see Jaden Perron, um, fitting there pretty well. I'm gonna kind of go with somebody who I'm higher on than a lot of people are, and that's Tanner Malindic. Um, I think his just pure offensive like push rush style from the back end is really fascinating. He's somebody that reminds me a lot of Brent Burns in the fact, like especially like young Brent Burns in the fact that he probably should be a forward. Um, I think that could be kind of an interesting development process, especially with Burns still in the Hurricanes. I think they could kind of get um, a good like transition from one player to the other in that sense. I don't know if he's necessarily if he'll go in the first round. I think there's a lot of risk involved there as well. Same with Perron.
Yeah,
But he's such a fun player. Like he's like Denton Mateychuk on like steroids because like if you thought Mateychuk didn't play any defense, it gets worse. But like it's somebody who can just break a game from the blue line is something that really fascinates me. And I think Carolina could kind of play that like almost positionless hockey style better than pretty well anybody. And I think Melindic kind of fit really well into that system if that's the way they wanted to go. It's definitely a risky pick, but I think if you're the Hurricanes at this point, you can kind of like you don't have to be safe in the first round.
hmm
Um, and I think that would just be really fun. I do like the Jaden Braun fit as well though in Carolina. All right, so their off season is very interesting. They actually only have one forward, two defensemen, and one goalie signed beyond next season. Looking at
yeah.
their, or I guess two forwards, because
Because cap friendly's
yeah,
on to next year already, so it's a little
is it?
tough to
Oh,
read.
okay.
Yeah, so like when it says 0, that means like they're
23, 24. Yeah,
expiring.
yeah, okay, okay, yeah, never mind. So yeah, I read that wrong. But yeah. Oh no, this is no, I'm right. I'm
No,
right.
you are right though.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Um, uh, yeah, so they definitely have a lot of opportunity here to move rosters around. Obviously, Jordan Stahl's contract coming off the books is good. I mean, I'm sure he'll re-sign. I have no doubt in my mind they're going to bring back Stahl. It's just not going to be for $6 million.
Right. Yeah.
I can't see him go. The only other place I could see Jordan Stahl maybe going is Florida if they keep Eric and Mark. Like that's it. Like
Yeah.
there's no other way that Jordan's, and I honestly, it's probably more likely that Carolina brings those guys in than Florida.
Yeah.
So like that's the only thing I could see him doing because they're all free agents this year, which is kind of fun. But no, I mean Jordan Stahl's not going to leave. He's just going to be cheap. I think Jesse Puyarvi is kind of the most interesting name.
I don't think they're going to keep him.
There's a lot of talk about him not being in NHL next year, which I think is a huge mistake. I still love Jesse Puyarvi. I just want somebody to give him a chance. I really thought Carolina would be that team. He just didn't fit as well as I thought he would. But there's still something. I still think there's something there. Like just
there's still one team that I have a lot of hope for Puyarvi, and it's one that's going to surprise you when I say it right now.
All right,
the Kraken.
Okay,
Puyarvi on the Kraken.
I don't hate it. I thought you were going to go Colorado.
It wouldn't happen, but yeah, Colorado would be good too. They need depth.
I like Colorado. Yeah, I think Colorado kind of fits the
willing to take a shot,
especially if they get rid of. Yeah, and especially if they get rid of like Evan Rodriguez, like if they can't re-sign him.
Yeah,
Puyarvi would be a good fit. But anyway, we're not talking about their avalanche right now. I don't think Puyarvi sticks around. Paul Stastny is another one who I think is super underrated. I don't know if he comes back to Carolina.
Maybe he just retires, to be honest.
I don't know because like he's still really good.
Yeah, he is really good.
Again, I could see maybe Colorado for Paul Stastny because they need center depth, especially because Landeskog is going to be out. He's kind of an interesting fit there. But yeah, I mean, there's no real big, unless I'm missing somebody. Like they don't have a ton of like huge. I guess Frederik Andersen's probably their biggest free agent.
Right, and I don't think they should keep Frederik Andersen. This is a hot take, but I mean, I think you run it next year with Kochetkov and Ranta. If whichever one of them two is cheaper. Yeah, whichever one of Andersen and Ranta is cheaper.
Well, it's going to be Ranta.
Yeah. So go Ranta, Kochetkov next year. That's what you need. And then you bring in some forwards. You need a forward. Bring in Mark Scheifele.
Yeah. I mean, I like the Pacioretty experiment was fun for like a game. Like
it sucked
really,
though.
It was a fun idea.
It was, and it's just if he wouldn't have been injured, they would have won the cup this year.
I believe that, honestly. I think,
Full health Carolina would have won the cup this year.
Yeah. And it's unfortunate because they're not going to bring Pacioretty back. I can't see it.
No, he's going to sign for league min somewhere and put up 30 goals.
With the Oilers for $1 million, and he's going to score 40 with Draisaitl.
Yeah.
And it's going to be insane.
Yeah.
That's my ideal fit because they didn't get Carlson. I want them to get Pacioretty because that would be fun.
Yeah.
It really would be. Like, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, they definitely need another top six forward. There isn't a whole lot out there. At least free agent wise. Like, free agency this year stinks. It's not good.
Yeah. It does.
It's the David Clarkson era of free agent classes. That's what we're in right now. The RFA market's pretty good. I mean, Thomas Hurdle's still out there, so I mean, to do that, they have a lot of picks. So
yeah.
All right, give me one player that you would like the Carolina Hurricanes to target this season.
This offseason? Okay, so trade or free agent?
Anything, just one player. It doesn't matter.
See, like, I know it's going to sound biased coming from someone from Winnipeg saying Mark Scheifele, but I just think that makes sense. Well, actually, no. I think they should target Kyle Connor. I'm changing my answer. Because they really want someone who's going to score goals, and they don't necessarily need someone who's going to play defense, because Kyle Connor won't. No. He won't. Like, it's simple as that. But, yeah, I think it's probably him, or if they want to bring in a defenseman, I think Orlov would be cool.
Yeah.
In Carolina.
Orlov would be fun.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with somebody that I'm also going to mention for another. Okay, am I allowed to do that? Can I mention somebody twice?
Yeah, you can mention somebody twice.
Do we make that rule? Okay, well, Jeremy Swayman is my pick for Carolina.
Okay, you're going to mention him for everybody.
No, I'm going to mention for one other team in the Metro.
Yeah.
And we both know we all know who that
both
is.
know. All the listeners know
it's
too.
the team they played in the second round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
But I like Jeremy Swayman just sucked. It's the easiest, like it's the most appetizing offer sheet potential like ever, because Boston has no money. And like we looked at it before an episode one time, and we'll look at it
Yeah.
more when we get to Boston in the Atlantic episode, because it's going to be super interesting. But basically, like they would have to gut their whole roster basically to not only match a like 6.1 whatever the first and third offer sheet is for Swayman, and to replenish whatever they'd have to move out to make that, because they have like 9 open roster spots next season. They have $6 million to do it with. So like
Yeah.
and if it's not Swayman, I'd like to see them try to make a trade for Allmark, although I think that would be expensive.
Yeah.
I think it would cost them more to get Allmark than it would the first and third would for Swayman, in my opinion. Like I think Allmark's worth more than that right now, especially because he's going to win the Vezina. Like that's just the
Yeah.
recency bias there is going to be insane. It's such a great opportunity, because even if you don't get him, like the Bruins are ruined if you do it. Which is why I think like I could see a lot of teams in the Atlantic trying to do. There's a couple teams in the Atlantic I think would be also really interesting to offer sheet Swayman, because it would kind of just ruin the Bruins even more than they're already going to be taken down.
Do you think some teams are actually going to start to go to that, where they're going to be like,
I hope
well,
so.
we like this player, but we're also going to screw them over?
I really hope so,
Because like Carolina's the only
man.
team in recent memory that's successfully offer sheeted.
Yeah.
So like that's the one
like,
team I could
so
see
much
do it.
fun. Like just please,
Yeah.
somebody do it. Just like see, I almost wish like the NHL had like the NBA offer sheet rule, like kind of a mix of the NBA and NFL, like free agent rules, where like you don't actually have to give draft compensation
Mm-hmm.
to do it. The team just can match the contract, and then take from the NFL and just give compensatory picks based on the money.
Yes,
So
that should be a
instead
thing.
of like instead of like Carolina having to give up a first and a third for them, the Bruins just get a pick, like they get 33rd overall and like whatever it would be at the end of the third round. That's how
Yeah.
it should be. It would just do it that way. It would be
Just
way
add
better.
picks. Yeah.
It'd be so much more fun. Just it works for the NFL. Like they make it work.
They also do that with coaching too. Like if your coach gets hired, you get like a pick or whatever.
Yeah, it's like it's cool.
I think that's cool too.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like that one. That one doesn't bother me as much. Either
Oh,
way,
okay.
but I definitely think you should get player. Like you should, instead of the giving up picks for RFAs, just give the team a pick at the end of rounds or whatever, and then based on the money, that's how you determine the order. So whoever gets paid like at the highest of the thing or whatever, you can do it by points, whatever, however you want to do it to like order. If there's multiple offer sheets a year, figure it out. But just stop making teams have to give the picks, because it would be so much more fun.
Yeah.
Or just lower the compensation requirements or something. Like just make it something. This whatever irritates me. Anyway, Carolina has the opportunity to offer sheet somebody. I think they should go after Jeremy Swayman. That's my ideal fit here for the Hurricanes.
I like it.
All right, and this should be pretty easy, but predictions on where they finish, like general range on where they should finish next season. I mean, obviously we both think they're going to be a playoff team, but yeah, I think first place is kind of the
first to third. They could be. Yeah. I think probably more likely first or second. That's my range. I don't see them dipping below that.
No, and they shouldn't. I mean, this team is like clearly one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. They should be fine as long as they can figure out like a true starting goaltender. That's kind of their true starting goalie and a top 6 forward is kind of the only things they need.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, first to third is kind of a good range. Definitely a playoff team though. All right, so we move from the top of the division to the bottom of the division with the Columbus Blue Jackets. This should be a pretty easy segment for who they should draft, because they're picking third overall. My answer simply is whoever doesn't get picked between the top like 3 best players on the board.
Yeah.
Like Bedard and Fantilli are going to go 1 and 2. I'd probably say go Michkov. But like you could take Carlson, you could take Benson, you could you could take Smith. Like I'm fine with any of those guys. Just one of those like 4 guys. That's
yeah.
I feel like this is a really easy part of the.
Yeah, my picks also who I have them like mock taking, and it's Will Smith. I think he just fits so well. Like, of course, they need a center, but like him and Johnny Gaudreau would be so much fun.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah, but yeah, any of those guys like Carlson, Smith, Michkov, Benson, I'd be fine with them taking any of them. They probably go Smith though. If I had to put money on it at this point, I think Smith's the most likely.
They're going Smith.
Yeah. And then San Jose is kind of toss up between Carlson and Michkov for me, but whatever. That we'll get to the Sharks.
Yeah.
When we get to them, but yeah, Will Smith kind of feels like the pick that's going to be made there. it's pretty like it's not an easy pick because there's like guys there, but like you're going to get somebody really good with whoever they pick.
Yeah.
All right, free agents for this team. They really don't have anybody that's expiring of note.
Yeah, no one. Actually, nobody. That's weird.
Yeah, Matthew
Huh.
Oliver. That's probably the best one.
Yeah.
And Bayreuther, I guess, is the best free agent that they have that they need to maybe resign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just need to get rid of that Good Branson contract now.
Well,
And
yeah,
then
they're
they're
not gonna do that. I mean, like
and
do they though? Like, how much cap space do they have?
they have 16 mil.
Yeah, they don't need to move that contract. That's fine.
Yeah.
I think the Blue Jackets should just kind of just stay the course. Use your picks. You have 2 firsts in a really loaded draft. One of them's LA's, which is like a mid first. I guess like who do you think they should take with the Kings pick? I didn't remember they had that.
I don't remember where the Kings
Like
pick is, so it'll
27.
be like the 19
22.
range, right? 22?
22. Yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
I don't think they should go defense because you don't need a
yeah.
defenseman.
Sale, Stenberg, Jaeger.
I think
Maybe they get
Stenberg or Jaeger would be
yeah.
for that pick.
Gavin Brindley's probably
Just
gonna be
grab
there.
2 centers. That's what I'm doing. You grab the best 2 centers unless like Benson's there somehow. Or
Yeah.
Crystal
Well,
would be good too.
Yeah.
Andrew Crystal in Columbus would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I think.
I don't think Oliver Moore falls to 22. That's an interesting name.
Yeah, that would be good too.
I don't think he falls that far though. I think he goes like early teens. I think he goes like 14, like around 14.
Nashville's gonna snag him. We'll get to
But,
Nashville. Yeah.
Who's picking 14? Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's gonna take him. There you go. Cal Dubas's revenge tour begins with Oliver Moore at 14.
Can he be at the draft table?
Yeah, I really
That's so unrelated, but that just popped in my head.
Yeah. Sorry, what was the question?
Can Dubas be at the draft table? I know Treliving can't.
I think so. Why can't he? Wait, what?
Brad Treliving can't be at the draft table for the Leafs because he was with the Flames. Yeah, they were saying that he can't be at at the draft table, which is so weird to me. It's like he could just text you who their favorite players are if he knows them anyway.
Yeah. Like, I'm sure they're having that conversation now. Dubas must be able to, because he's the direct. Like, they don't have a GM. They don't have any. Like, he is the acting GM right now.
Okay.
I have no idea.
He should be able to.
Yeah,
he should just be the GM and the president of Hockey Ops.
I mean, yeah, but I understand why he doesn't want to do both. Like, I get the stress of it, and director of Hockey Ops is a lot more like hands off. So like, he won't have that kind of like day-to-day pressure the same way.
He's more long-term focused now. Yeah.
Columbus, who should they target? Give me one player that they should go after.
Just sign some RFA that doesn't get qualified with upside. And
Jesse Pujärvi.
Yeah, well, that too. But like, what I mean is like, you know how like Sony Milano and like those Sam Steele, like sign one of those guys after. That's what you should do, and then trade him at the deadline.
I could see like Ville Heinola being interesting. Like if the Jets don't bring Heinola back, I think he could kind of be like a 1 year, give him a shot kind of player.
Yeah, Ville Heinola is sick. I don't know why they wouldn't give him a shot.
I don't mind that. I mean, yeah, they're not gonna bring him back. They might not even qualify him. Like,
I don't know what you're talking about. Right? He still has 1 more year.
Does he? Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Who's the Jets? Oh, it's Stanley. That's an RFA.
Yeah, sign Stanley, please.
No, but yeah, Columbus needs to just kind of stay the course. They made their big free agent signing in Gaudreau. Let everybody develop. I like them going after some like young players. I don't think the Rangers would trade Lafreniere here, but I think that would be kind of interesting.
You know who'd be more interesting on the Rangers?
Who?
Philip Hedl.
Yeah.
That would be sweet. You go Will Smith, Philip Hedl.
Yeah. Yeah, but him getting re-signed kind of. I would like to see them kind of go after a young center, kind of like Montreal did play Kirby Dack, like find a player like that.
Yeah.
Who's like kind of struggling. I can't even think of who that could possibly be, but
try and lure Tommy Glass out of Nashville.
Yeah, there you go.
That's the guy.
Yeah. Yeah, but just kind of don't do anything crazy.
Yeah,
Is my
exactly.
offseason plan. All right.
Don't rock the boat.
Prediction standings thing for Columbus.
Standings predictions.
I'm gonna say like second last in the division.
Yeah,
Second to
7th or
like
8th.
yeah. I'd even go like 6 to 8. I think there's a
6th to 8's
possibility.
fair.
There's a
Yeah,
possibility that like Philly's probably gonna end up last. I think if I'm just kind of going through this in my head, we'll get to these teams. The Islanders are kind of just a total crapshoot.
yeah, they're
Um,
gonna finish last.
maybe. I mean, yeah, who knows? Um, and then yeah, I think New Columbus can kind of be in that range, probably.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. All right. The New Jersey Devils are next up. I'm kind of just bouncing all around the playoffs now because this is the team that lost. Jesus Christ, they have a lot of free agents. Holy smokes.
Yeah, they
Um,
have a tough time there.
uh, Jesper Boquist, Bratt, McLeod, Meyer, Serengovich, Howlett, Tatar, Wood, Bastion, uh, Kevin Ball, Ryan Graves, Damon Severson, Kenzie Blackwood. Don't think they're going to qualify Blackwood. I'll put that one out there right now.
Yeah, they shouldn't.
Kevin
Unless they
Ball probably doesn't
trade.
come back.
Yeah.
Hopefully not. Graves, I could see them potentially re-signing. Um, it sounds like Damon Severson's hitting the market.
Yeah, you're not gonna be able to afford him. 6 mil? That's a lot. He's worth it, but
Yeah.
you have guys in the chamber. Why would you sign him
Howell
again?
probably comes back. Tatar probably hits the free agent market. Miles Wood, maybe they bring back. I think they'll bring back Howell though. It sounds like he really wants to stick around, and they really like them.
Yeah.
And then Serengovich, Meyer, McLeod, Boquist, I think all come back for sure. Jesper Bratt's kind of the interesting one for me.
Yeah. He's an RFA, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they get hurt. They get hurt. Like, it all depends on how much Hurdle gets. But I don't think Jesper Bratt's gonna be on this team next year. I think they're gonna have to move him
Which sucks because I think Brat's a better player.
over Hurdle.
Timo Meyer. I mean,
Oh, Meyer, yeah, really? Okay.
I think so. I like Brat. Why would I don't get why they'd give up on like usually GMs will like tend to stick around to someone that they like drafted. You know,
Well, I think it's
like
just a
it,
money thing. I mean,
well, like
that's what it's gonna come down
Brat
to.
can probably get 6 mil, and I think Hurt or Meyer wants 8.
Yeah,
But I'd
I
rather
like
have
Meyer,
Brat at
but
7 than Meyer at 8.
I don't know if I agree.
I love
I think
Jesper Brat though. That could
I
be
love
it
both of
too.
them. Like, don't get me wrong, I love both players, but like I think Meyer has the higher the higher ceiling at this point.
Yeah, I could see that.
And I think for the Devils specifically, I think going with like the higher ceiling potential is more important than like the safer pick. And even then, like I mean, Meyer's still gonna be like a first line player
Right.
regardless. I just don't like, and you can't just trade like you just traded for Meyer. You just gave up a bunch of assets for him. Like the sunk cost in Meyer is kind of there
Yeah.
more so with Bratt, and Bratt just had like at least perceived to be a really bad playoffs by the general like fan base, which isn't correct,
Right.
but you know,
Yeah.
because he didn't score. Uh, they're kind of an interesting team though, because again, like, well, this is the other place I have Jeremy Swayman as a fit because they need a goalie. Like they have to figure out they have to figure out the goaltending more than Carolina does. Um, in my opinion, and
Yeah.
there's so many options. I think Swayman's the best option. Connor Hellebuyck's really interesting, although I think if Hellebuyck makes the window smaller than Swayman would, um,
Yeah.
again, Saros same thing, Demko same thing, Gibson even more so. Makes the window smaller. Like Swayman is the best option for this team to have a long term. Like it gives them the biggest breadth for a contending window.
Yeah.
So that kind of leans me toward it. But I mean, they have the first and third next year. That means they wouldn't have a first, second, third, or fourth next year if they did that.
Yeah. So they're not going to do that.
Which could turn them off. But again, they might get some of that back in the Jesper if they trade Bratt, right?
Right.
So there's potential there for a lot of moving parts here in New Jersey. And they have the prospects to make something work, even if they don't necessarily offer Shoot Swayman, right? They could make an offer to the Bruins, kind of replenishing the Bruins prospect pool with a couple guys.
Right.
Could be interesting.
Yeah.
What about you? Who do you think
I
is a
have
good fit?
I have two guys for New Jersey just because you went the goalie angle. So I'll give my goalie pick and then I'll give someone else.
Sure.
So my goalie pick, I think Connor Hellebuck makes a lot of sense. He may shorten the window more than Swayman, but I feel like it might be easier. It'll cost more, but it'll be easier to call up the Jets and be like, "Hey, we want Connor Hellebuck. What's it going to take?" Because they have
Yeah,
so many
it's definitely a
options.
simpler deal to
Yeah,
do.
like I think that's how Tom Fitzgerald's going to do it too, because he's never been a big like elaborate risk kind of guy. Like he makes smart moves, but they're
Mm.
not the most like it's the easy smart moves. Like signing Dougie Hamilton to that contract, like that's easy.
Yeah.
Like of course. But my other guy is Gustav Nyquist. He had a great playoffs and they're gonna need to replenish some scoring if they let Brad go.
Mm.
And he could probably fit in the middle six, and I think he would fit there well. But then
Yeah.
again, they got a lot of prospects, so
Yeah. I think if you want like a score again, like a scoring winger, I think Max Pacioretty is a really interesting fit here too. Obviously, you have the risk of health, but so do you have the same kind of risk with Nyquist as well.
yeah.
Um, I think somebody like that who's gonna be really cheap. He's gonna be kind of a like um an undervalued guy. Even if if you're talking about the Jets, I think Nino Niederreiter is kind of an interesting name too.
Yeah. Throw him
Depending
in
on what the
there.
Jets want to do with him.
Right.
I think that's kind of a like that secondary scoring kind of guy. Nikolai Ehlers is probably gonna be pretty undervalued this summer. Um,
Yeah.
just somebody like that. So like a second line forward who can score and contribute, but doesn't have to be the guy. Kind of what like Phil Kessel was a couple of years ago when he went to Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Um, except like less high, like less big name, if that makes sense. But like that kind of role. Um, same role, but less like trade value. Something
Yeah.
like that is kind of what they need, and a goalie. So yeah, pretty much Carolina.
Yeah.
These teams are very similar, which is funny because I think they're going to be playing. They're going to be at the top of this division forever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think New Jersey's kind of in that first to third window for me as well.
They're all
Uh,
for me as
yeah.
well.
Okay. The New York Islanders, a team who does not have a first round pick, right? I don't think so.
No,
No.
they do.
Yeah. Do they?
No, they don't. Sorry,
They
I thought
trade.
they did. They did, but they traded it.
They traded theirs for Horvat. Right.
Horvat, and then the Canucks traded that for Roenick.
Yes. So
Talk
that's
about bad move.
so we don't have a prospect to talk about with this team,
No,
which is ironic because the Islanders don't have any
need a
prospects to
prospects.
talk about.
Well, just
Um,
one.
well, yeah, but yeah. Uh, free agent wise, Pierre Engvall, Zach Parise, they were both free agents. I don't think either come back. Um, and Bolduc, Mayfield are kind of the big defensive ones. And Simeon
Mm-hmm.
Varlamov is kind of an interesting. Simeon Varlamov is like such an underrated name on the goalie market because everybody's talking about all the potential trade options. But
Yeah,
I think Varlamov strikes me as somebody who's going to go to one of those teams who trades one of their goalies. Like if the Jets move Hellebuck, Varlamov will be kind of the bridge guy. Or
I like that.
if like maybe not the Ducks, but like if Vancouver moves Demko, like that could be a fit there. I think the Ducks would probably just like rock with Stolars and like be bad again. But kind of
Oh yeah,
those
and they
teams who
got
like, yeah, like the teams kind of like in the middling pack. I think is where Varlamov kind of ends up.
yeah. I could see
Maybe
if the
Pittsburgh.
Wild trade Fleury, I could see them trying to bring in Varlamov with
Yeah,
Gus.
maybe a Pittsburgh too.
Yeah,
If
that could. That seems
like
like
depending on
such
who
a
moves
Kyle
Charlie.
Dubas move
It does, yeah. Because
because
like
he doesn't ever
again, like
spend much on goalies. I
and
don't
it
think
sounds like
he's.
I'm pretty sure the Leafs were interested in Varlamov last summer. So
Yeah,
like that seems like a decent. Like he's a good goalie. Like Simon Varlamov is super underrated.
yeah. He's
Um,
been underrated his whole career, I think.
yeah, I mean obviously Sorokin's like way better, which is also why the Islanders aren't going to bring him back. But
Yeah,
there's really not like the Islanders are kind of stuck right now. Like there's no real direction here. Um, so like I don't even want to like hazard a guess at who they should bring in because
they need to figure
first of
out
all
their
they're
direction first.
yeah well first of all their roster is pretty well like locked in. Like they don't really need like based on who they have right now, they don't really have like a like quote unquote hole to fill. Like their team's
Yeah.
not good, but you know what I mean. Like they kind of have their top 4 defense, like their top 9 forwards, pretty well. Like their whole forward core pretty well figured out. I guess
Yeah.
Engvall's kind of the one guy they'd have to replace, but you know, whatever. And defensively too. I mean, Scott Mayfield, they'd
He's
have to
probably gonna
replace,
go.
and,
Yeah.
yeah, and get a backup goalie. Like that's there's
Mackenzie
really, I mean,
Blackwood.
like maybe Jonathan Quick, maybe
Mm.
like something like just like somebody. I think Quick would kind of be interesting because he could kind of help Sorokin along for a year.
Yeah.
Not that
You
Sorokin
know who
needs
I
it, but just
really
kind of that
like
extra.
for the Islanders?
Who?
Andreas Athanasiou.
Okay, all right.
Just
I don't mind it.
a
I don't hate it.
like if you're gonna. I don't know why you'd sign him if you're moving on from Engvall. Like they're not really the same player, but
Yeah, I mean, like they could very well bring in Engvall back, but I just
they
think like
should. But I don't think
yeah,
they will.
absolutely. Yeah, probably not. And if they do, it's gonna be for like too long. Too big. Like it's not gonna be a great contract. I don't think.
Too much money and too long.
Yeah,
The
it's
famous Peter Chiarelli line,
yeah.
or was that not Peter?
No,
That was
that was
Lou.
Lou.
That
It
was
was
Lou
Lou.
about
It was Lou on the
Horvat.
Horvat. Yeah, like immediately after the Horvat contract.
At the presser.
Um,
It's too long and it's too much money. Oh,
but I mean,
classic
like
Lou moment.
no first, no third this year.
Yeah,
This
you would
team's
think
just
they offer
like
sheeted somebody,
yeah.
but they didn't.
Nope, they just traded for Bo Horvat.
Yikes.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah, there's not. This team's kind of a mess. But I think they're still gonna be kind of middling.
fourth to sixth.
Yeah, I was just gonna say 4th to 6th is kind of my range for the Islanders here.
Yeah.
Just kind of a bubble team that's gonna squeak in because they're gonna win a bunch of 2-1 games. So, yeah, there you go. It's gonna be really funny seeing Barry Trotz and Lou Lamoriello like making trades with each other, though. Like that's fun. That makes me happy.
Yeah, that will be fun.
It's just like I don't know. There's something about that that's just hilarious to me. Or even better yet, Barry Trotz and damn it, I just lost the name.
Which GM?
Jets.
Oh, Chevy.
Yeah. I think that's just, wow. Okay.
Yeah, trying to sign him, and then the next year he's just fleecing you in a deal.
Yeah, that's hilarious. I can't believe I just blanked on Kevin Sheldon. Okay.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Anyway, yeah. I think that's it for the Islanders, right? We covered everything.
I think that's it. Yeah.
Okay. The New York Rangers, who do not have a first-round pick.
Yes, they do.
Oh, they do. What? Oh, they do. Yeah, that's right. They had 2.
Yeah, they have the Stars first, so they have the 29th.
23rd.
23rd?
Yeah, because
Oh no, they traded the Stars.
They traded the worst pick to Dallas.
Right.
That was such a good trade. That Tarasenko trade was super underrated. I'll stand by that because he was great. Free agents wise, though, this team doesn't have as many as I thought. Wow, they have like nobody signed either. Their forward list is kind of short.
Yeah.
Lafreniere, Kane, Mott, Tarasenko.
I think all those 3 bottom guys aren't coming back.
Who?
I don't think Mott, Kane, or Tarasenko come back.
No, Halak doesn't come back.
I think he should, though.
Miller.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. He'll be whatever. They'll find a backup like Halak. If it's not Halak, they'll get somebody similar.
Yeah.
Lafreniere is kind of the most interesting name here
I agree.
because like they're gonna sign Keandre Miller. Like they have to do that.
Yeah.
But like, what do you do with Alexei Lafreniere? Because his value is like stupidly low.
Yeah, you don't want to trade him while it's low.
But you also have $11 million in cap space.
Yeah.
And the window for this team is slamming shut really fast. And I mean, Ryan Lindgren and Brandon Schneider are free agents next season. So, like, you can't commit too much money to Lafreniere, but you also can't, like, I don't think you can. Trading him now is probably not the best idea either. And Capo's a free agent next year. And Capo Caco had a really, underrated season this season.
Yeah, he was pretty good.
I think, like, kind of like the catch-22 here for the Rangers is, like, you can't lock up Lafreniere long-term. But you also, like, don't know what you have with Lafreniere because he's been on the third line the entire time. Like, ideally, you sign him to a bridge deal and you play Hedel, Kakko, and Lafreniere as your second line next season, and you find out what you have.
Yeah.
And if they rock, then you're in trouble. And if they suck, then you're also in trouble.
Why if they rock are you in trouble?
Well, because then you like if they sign, because Kakko has 1 year left on his deal.
Oh, right. Okay.
I guess Heedle's kind of locked up. They have Heedle for 3 more years after next season. But Lafreniere, if he signs a bridge deal for 2 or 3 years, like that's another contract you have to figure out too. And then you have Schneider and Lindgren coming up, and whatever Miller gets. So like it's a better problem to have, but it's still a problem.
Right.
And if they suck, then like you're kind of screwed too. Because if you sign Lafreniere for more than a season, then he's going to be kind of almost unmovable at that point. Even for like 3 or 4 mil, like nobody's really going to be interested in a guy who can't really play in your bottom 6 or your top 6.
Right.
So I'm not saying that Lafreniere is not an NHLer, but you know what I mean. Like he's kind of just like he's not a very good bottom 6 forward, and he's not a very good top 6 forward. He's kind of just like in the middle.
Yeah.
And like that's not great either. So like it's also they need to find a head coach. That's another problem for this team. John Hines is the name I'm hearing a lot of, which is hilarious. And I think
John Hines and Peter Laviolette are the two I've
Yep.
heard the most.
Peter Laviolette, notorious for being an awful coach 5-on-5, which fits the Rangers, baby. Lock it in.
Yeah.
Same with John Hines, but Peter Laviolette's funnier. Where are they picking? 23rd, right? In the draft?
Yep.
I'm going to kind of stick with like Stenberg, Sale, Perron, Jaeger, like that group, that same kind of group there. They don't really need to, like, they just kind of need the best player available. That's who they should take.
Right. I wrote down Stenberg. Yeah, I have Stenberg as well.
That's fair. Just, whoever the best player available is at 22. That's who you do not need to pick for position here. I mean, you shouldn't pick for position anyway, but then, whatever. That's a whole other argument. But for the Rangers specifically, just best player available. Free agent target. What do you got? Or
so
trade target, whatever.
Yes. This is it's kind of tough because it's like, well, they kind of need a bottom sixer.
Mm-hmm.
And
they need multiple bottom sixers.
Yeah. Like, what I think would be really funny is if they sign Corey Perry. I think that'd be hilarious. I don't think it'll happen, but I think that'd be hilarious. But in all,
it doesn't sound like Tampa is going to bring him back. So
no. Well, I've heard rumors the Leafs might want to sign him.
I mean, I feel like Corey Perry's a useful player, but
yeah,
that's funny. Like I don't think the Leafs are a great fit, but yeah, I mean, he's still fine.
Yeah, I think they should just find some guy who just sign a good PTO player. There's always so many of them.
Yeah.
Like, just don't overcommit because you don't know what you're going to need to do in a couple of years.
It's such a weird position to be in because like you kind of don't like they have all these like prospects, but like, even Keandre Miller to some extent, like you don't really know what you have in him fully.
Right? Yeah, he's just been playing second pair.
They've been buried down the lineup. Like you don't know what these guys are, and I mean like Heedle and Kakko especially have shown flashes, but like I don't like it's so weird. It's such a strange position to be in for this organization.
Yeah,
and I think like bringing
in
a good head coach is gonna be so crucial, and I just don't think they're gonna do that.
No, they should have hired Burnett.
Yeah, absolutely, they should have.
I think every team could have signed Burnett.
Yeah, literally every team that needed a head coach, they should have hired Andrew Burnett. Like, just like how every team who needs a GM should have hired Eric Tolsky, but whatever. Yeah, it's such a weird position that the Rangers are in right now, and it's strange because you have Igor Sturkin, who also, by the way, only has 2 years. He only has 1 more year after next season on his deal too.
Yeah.
So again, like if you sign Lafreniere to a bridge deal, and he's good, like,
yeah,
then you're like, if he's good, not spectacular. Like if he like turns out to be like a pretty good second liner, then you're basically going to have to overpay him. Like you end up with like kind of a Jacob Vrana kind of player, or an Anthony Mantha. Like, yikes. Then or a Hopkins or something like in that group where like they're a good second liner, but you're going to have to pay them like $7 million.
Yeah, I'd say the Oilers did well with Hopkins though. They never really overpaid him.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, I mean 7 and a bit or whatever he's getting for a power play guy. Yeah, I mean obviously he's putting up pretty good points. I like Hopkins though, so
I don't think
whatever.
he's making 7. I don't think it's that high.
Is
I think
it?
it's
I thought
five
it
and
was.
a half.
Oh shit. Well, I mean, if that's the case, then sure. I thought it was 7. I could have sworn.
It's 5-1-2-5.
Oh, okay. Well then, yeah. Never mind. That's awesome. That's stupid good. They should trade
Yeah,
Hopkins. We'll get to that.
to Boston.
They should just trade him anywhere for a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
And then sign Pacioretty, who will literally do the same thing. But you know what I mean. Or trade him to San Jose for Erik Karlsson.
The deal is 1-for-1.
I'm still gonna be on that. I want Erik Karlsson to do Oilers. And just play him forward. Just, screw it. Whatever.
Just cause.
Just do it. Yeah, the Rangers are interesting. I don't really have like an ideal free agent player. I can't like list somebody.
Yeah, I kind of struggle with that too.
If like Joel Armia gets bought out by Montreal, that's kind of an interesting name. He kind of fits that Tyler Mott build. I think he's probably a bit better than Tyler Mott. Good penalty killer.
I think that him or Connor Sheary. I don't know why. I've always been a big guy.
Yeah,
Connor Sheary guy.
I could see that. It's just So look at the buyout market. Look at the guys who are going to go, and then just try to figure it out. Because this team needs kind of to retool. They also need to figure out if they're going to play the kids on the second line or not. Because if you're not, then you should trade Lafreniere. If you're not good, if you're going to play, if the plan is to play Lafreniere on the third line next year, they just trade him. Like realistic, because you're not going to know what you have with him, and then he's a free agent, and then it's just you have to figure out what you have there.
Yeah, I agree.
Or move on. Like those are the options. You can't just kind of sit in the third line again. Not long term. All right, predictions for the Rangers finish. What do you got?
Third or fourth?
Yeah, okay. I go like second to fourth because I think Shesterkin can kind of push them into that top 2 conversation.
Yeah.
I think second to fourth is fair. Somewhere between like home ice and like I could see them like hosting the first round of the playoffs, and I could see them like missing the playoffs if things really go bad. So
yeah.
Second to fourth feels good. All right, the Philadelphia Flyers. Philadelphia. Daniel Briere, new GM, first time GM, also my cousin. So shout out.
Wait, for real?
Yeah, he's like my 6th cousin or something. He doesn't know I exist.
Okay.
We're related.
That's cool.
I know he exists, so not really a whole lot here either. I mean, James Van Riemsdyk, who they should have traded at the deadline. Like, oh my God.
But it fell through,
Cam York's an interesting name. I don't know what they want to do with Cam York because he really hasn't like broken out yet, and that's kind of concerning.
He had a good year this year, though.
Yeah,
he was pretty good.
Yeah, it just is long term. I don't know what they have.
Yeah. Should have drafted Caulfield.
Yeah, that'll be that'll be an interesting deal. I'm glad they didn't though.
Yeah.
Noah Cates obviously is a super
unreal player
as well. Van Riemsdyk doesn't come back. Obviously, he's going to hit the market.
Right.
The biggest question for me here is what do they do with Carter Hart? Because like he had a good year, but like his whole body of work has not been very impressive.
No, he had his good rookie year, and then this year are the only like good years he's had.
I mean, he's still 24, but like, how long do you think this rebuild's going to take? Because like he has 1 year left, and then he's an RFA, right? So like, this is the year to move him.
Yeah.
Because after this summer, everybody's going to have their goalie.
It says you just find the highest bidder, and unless you can't get if you can't get a first from him, I wouldn't move him.
Yeah, sure. But I think like the problem is though, I think Carter Hart's going to be kind of in that second wave of goalies that go. Like, because there's like 4 guys who are kind of going to be at the top of that board, and then he'll kind of be like after Demko gets traded.
Yeah.
If Demko gets moved. Right.
Like there's like 6 goalies that could be moved, which is crazy.
Yeah. Like teams are going to be in on one of the Bruins goalies. They're going to be in on Hellebuck. They're going to be in on Saros. And then if you don't get one of those guys, then you're moving down. Yeah, then you're moving down to Gibson after those 3. Who is going to get moved probably. I'd be shocked if he doesn't. Then you move down to like Demko and then Carter Hart. So like there's there really won't be a bidding war for Carter Hart at that point.
No.
So, and even then, like if I'm a team and I've struck out on like 3 goalies, I'd almost just sign Varlamov to a bridge deal and then just figure it out afterwards.
Yeah.
So they're kind of, I mean, they don't even have like a ton of picks. They have 1 first, they have 2 thirds.
They don't have a second. That's so weird.
Yeah, who did they trade their second to?
I'm here. I'm looking at it.
Oh, July. I think I know what deal this was. Hell yeah, baby. I know what deal it was.
Oh my goodness, it's this deal. Oh my gosh. Ristolainen for Robert Hagg, who's arguably better than Ristolainen. Just kidding.
I mean, no, honestly,
A
like
first and a second.
Rasmus Ristolainen was like one of the, like he was a pretty good defenseman this year.
He was, yeah, but it's just so funny to meme on him.
Oh no, he's not good. Like he's still not very good. Where's Florida? Where's Philly picking? They're like top 10ish.
They have the 7th,
7.
I think.
7. You know who they should take at 7? Matt Vymichkov. That is who they should take at 7.
Okay, I like that.
Because he might be there. And this
He
team
will-
is like
he will be
at
there.
least, this team is at least 3 years away from being competent.
Yeah.
So just wait. Just hang out. Why not? And Ryan Leonard, Oliver Moore, kind of other names. I don't think Moore goes that high. I think most likely they'll go Dvorsky if he's there.
Yeah.
Because like that just feels like the worst thing they could do. Nate Danielson's kind of interesting too. I could see them going there. That'd probably be my prediction: is they go Danielson or Dvorsky at 7.
Mm-hmm.
Michkov's like the clear choice though if he's there at 7.
Yeah. You know who I actually have? I have them passing on Michkov in my fit. Yeah, they were all in on Johnny Gaudreau. Johnny Gaudreau this, Johnny Gaudreau that.
Yeah.
They're going to draft this year's Johnny Gaudreau. Zach Benson. 5'8", 140 short king. He's not going in the top 10. So
I don't know if I agree.
I don't think he will. I'm willing to put $20 on it right now that Zach Benson does not
He's
get
not gonna
drafted
go
in the
top
top
10.
10. No, he's going to go. Not. I think he should, but he won't. Like Dvorsky,
I might take you up on that. Give
Reinbacher.
me 2 seconds here to think about this because I might take you up on that. Okay, the Sharks won't take him. Montreal probably won't. Arizona probably won't because they're gonna want a defenseman.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Daniel Briere, like he's gonna take the short guy.
How tall is Daniel
Come on.
Briere?
He's like 5'9".
I might have to rescind that.
Yeah,
he's 5'9".
Come on.
Yeah, they're gonna take Zach Benson.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. Because if Washington takes Michkov if he's there, like he's not gonna drop there. Detroit would take Benson if he fell to 9.
I don't think so.
I don't think Eisman passed up on Benson.
They're drafting some European that we've never heard of.
Oh, that too.
Tom Wallander, 9th pick.
Yeah, and he turns out to be like a superstar.
Yeah.
The
Yzerman way.
Yeah. No, I don't think the Flyers could go Benson if he's still there.
Okay.
It is kind of interesting though. Like now that I look at it, like I actually like could see a possibility of him falling like to like 7th or 8th. But I don't think he goes past. I don't think he gets past Detroit if Benson's there.
Pronman seems to think he's going in the teens.
And
Pronman's guesses are usually pretty accurate. That's why I said that.
Fair enough. All right, quickly free agent pick for the Philadelphia Flyers.
See, that's like, I don't know. Trade Carter Hart and sign Varlamov.
Sure, I'm down. That works for me. I don't think they should go after anybody.
Yeah.
Like besides, unless they need to like replace Carter Hart with like somebody.
Yeah.
All right, Pittsburgh Penguins. Kyle Dubas is the new GM or the current GM at the moment, interim GM.
Yep.
Ryan Paling's a free agent. Danton Heinen, Jason Zucker, Dumoulin, Kulikov, and Tristan Jarry. They need a goalie. They need probably a bridge goalie. That seems to be the Kyle Dubas way. Yeah. Sure. I could also see them being in on like Demko. I think Demko's value is pretty low at this point.
Yeah.
And he kind of be that like he's not on a long contract, so I think that kind of fits that same mold. Matt Murray. No, I'm just kidding. Uh, yeah, I think if they believe that Casey DeSmith can kind of split starts, James Reimer's kind of an interesting name here, but I don't think they need somebody better than that. I kind of like Demko. I'm gonna
I
go with
like
Demko.
Demko. Yeah,
They also need to buy out Granlund. That has to happen.
that's
That
rough.
should be
Yeah,
that should have already happened. Actually, like it should be like already in the works. I still think there's a lot here though.
there is.
Yeah, I think there's potential here.
I
I
think
trust.
20 mil in cap.
Yeah, and they buy out Granlund too, so that's gonna kind of help. Like they don't have a ton of guys to re-sign. Jason Zucker, I wouldn't be mad if they bring back, but I don't think they will.
Yeah,
Brian Dumoulin's gonna be gone, especially because Dubas has he has no reason to be loyal to Brian Dumoulin.
yeah,
So yeah, they have money. They need a goalie. They can't really trade for anybody because they have no assets. They do have their first this year, but that's about it.
yeah.
And I don't think Dubas is going to trade that. They have to kind of replenish this prospect pool. I think he's going to want to make that pick. Yeah, just depth. They need to build a better bottom six than what they've had the last 4 years.
Yeah.
That's it.
Who do you have them taking? Pittsburgh.
Where are they picking 23rd, I think?
No, they have the 14th or 13th pick or something like that.
Oh, 13th. Oliver Moore.
That's a good one. I like that one.
That's their intake.
Yeah.
It seems like a Cal Dubas kind of pick.
Yeah. I have Nate Danielson. I think he'd be so fun in Pittsburgh.
I could see that too. Ryan Leonard too. I think is somebody
that'd be good
in that conversation.
Any of the U.S. national guys.
Yeah, pretty well. Yeah, Crystal, Leonard, Moore, Danielson, who's not a U.S. guy, but I don't mind.
Perot. Matthew.
Yeah. Maybe. I don't like.
Yeah.
I think they probably go USDP.
I think so.
That'd be my ideal. It'd be interesting though, because Cal Dubas probably hasn't spent a lot of time on the early teens in this draft.
No, he's got to verse himself in that.
Yeah, I think that's kind of that can make things interesting here. So I don't think they go too off the board. I could also see a world where the Penguins trade down, which would be interesting. Where Dubas just kind of recoups assets and then gets a late 20s pick or something,
and then drafts some stud. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see because he knows that area of the draft, right? So it'd be I think that there's a world in which that happens because it helps the Penguins and try to recoup assets that they need.
But who would want to just trade up? There's you have to have a reason to trade up.
I think there's teams that could. I think a team like Carolina could be interested in somebody. I think there's a couple of who's picking around there. Chicago possibly. They have a ton of picks. They could just try to get another building block around their team. They have Tampa's pick at 19. Seattle too. Although I think Seattle kind of has their core kind of already set. Columbus as well.
Maybe Colorado.
I don't know if maybe.
Yeah, you don't want to give assets for that.
Yeah, I think the Avalanche are going to just look for a roster player with their picks. But I think Columbus and Chicago are kind of the interesting teams there that I could see potentially trading up to the early teams.
Or this is for the memes. This is for the memes right here.
Mm-hmm.
Brad Treliving's not very used to the late first. Swap picks.
Oh yeah.
From 28th to
let's do it.
14th.
13th.
Oh, that would be hilarious.
13th. That'd be so funny. I love it. And then Dubas gets the better player. That's how that story ends.
Yeah.
They trade up and they take Brandon Yeager at 13. And then the Leafs get somebody somebody falls. And they get him. I don't know. Something like that happens. That'd be funny.
All
right, so. Pittsburgh fringe playoff team. Is that kind of where we're at here?
Yeah, one of the wild cards. I'll say 4th to 6th.
Yeah, sure. All right, now the Washington Capitals, final team to cover here. Missed the playoffs this past season. Connor Sheary, Craig Smith are free agents. And then Faravari and Matt Irwin. And Carl Hagelin, if anybody cares.
Don't hate on my man Carl Hagelin like that.
I like Carl. Carl Hagelin was so much fun in the NHL video games. He's always so fast.
Yeah, he
Like
was
back when he was
so
like with
much
the
fun in
Ducks,
Hut.
especially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, who was
Anaheim.
the other guy too on Anaheim? Cogliano. Him and
Yeah.
Cogliano were so
Oh
much
yeah.
fun.
And they're so cheap too. Like on Hut, they were all with like 78 overall. Like it's great.
Yeah, that was
Good
fun.
times. Um, Craig Smith doesn't come back. He's gonna hit the market. Somebody's gonna get him for like a 1 year deal, and he's gonna be pretty good.
Yeah.
Same with Connor Sherry. Maybe the Capitals bring him back, but I feel like they're kind of like they need to kind of look for somebody a bit younger
Yeah.
to fill that role. Defensively, I think they're fine. I mean, Rasmus Sandin kind of solves a lot of their problems on the blue line.
Yeah.
He does only have 1 year left on his deal, though, so that's kind of an interesting wrinkle there too. But this is just about like finding playmakers to pass the puck to Alex Ovechkin, so he can score 50 goals again, right? Like that's the plan.
Yeah. They're just trying to score some goals.
Yeah. So just don't. No, but it's more specifically they're trying to get Ovechkin to score goals.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not. The team itself isn't trying to score goals. They need to get Alex Ovechkin the puck. So don't go sign Max Pacioretty is what I'm trying to say.
No. Sign
Do
Goose
not do it.
Nyquist.
Yeah.
Thomas Tatar
Yeah, sure.
to the Capitals
Um,
confirmed.
yeah, Kuznetsov's kind of the interesting name here because he's probably gonna get traded. Um,
For Mark Scheifele.
actually, I saw that. Like,
I think that would work.
I think that it kind of makes sense. Like,
Yeah, it does.
less so for Winnipeg, but like obviously the Caps would have to give up like some other pieces as well.
Well,
But
Connor
it kind of
McMichael and a first. That's really all you
sure,
need.
yeah, sure. Then yeah, in that case, I think it kind of works out. And then Washington kind of becomes. I thought they'd be better than last year. I actually kind of liked their offseason last season.
Yeah, I thought they were sneaky good. Kemper, I
Yeah,
thought Kemper would be better.
I still think they're kind of sneaky good though. Like I think the Caps could like squeak into a playoff spot this year.
I think and once again the playoffs, I think they can go deep. They're one of those teams where,
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't like to make that argument, but you know
Yeah.
what I mean. Like they can go
Yeah,
deep.
yeah. They're a team that like if they finish first, I'd have less faith in them than I do if they finish like fifth and make the playoffs.
Yeah,
If that makes sense. Like the East is still going to be kind of loaded next season. Like
yeah, and they have a good
that's
goalie.
also like
That's really
that's also why I'm very much in the camp that I think the Blue Jackets, Islanders, and Flyers should just kind of like try to be bad.
yeah.
Especially the Jackets and Flyers. Like they especially need to kind of just not be good next season.
They just need to suck. Yeah,
Yeah, the Islanders have Sorokin and Barzell and Horvat, so they kind of don't have a choice. But like those bottom two teams need to be awful. That's the plan.
yeah.
All right, free agent. So yeah, Mark Scheifele. We're good with that as their target.
We're good with Mark Scheifele. Yeah,
I think James Van Riemsdyk's kind of interesting as like a depth player
yeah,
for them.
yeah.
Kind of fill the Craig Smith, Connor Sherry role.
Yeah, bring back Garnet Hathaway. I think that would be good if he wants to come back.
Yeah, sure. They don't really need a defenseman. They could bring in like somebody like a depth guy, to play. But I mean, obviously, Carlson, Jensen, Van Riemsdyk, Sandin is probably your top four.
I think their decor is pretty much set for next year.
Trevor Van Riemsdyk, you could probably push down to the third pairing if you brought in like a second pair guy, but I don't really know who. Maybe a Dumoulin would
Bring
be
back
interesting.
Orlov. Apparently, he's interested in going back.
Yeah, I mean, sure.
That'd be so smart.
Yeah.
And trade him
Dumoulin's
again at the deadline
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
That's me in NHL 23.
Yeah, honestly, that's the play, baby. Just farm third round picks forever. It's great. Yeah, the Capitals are they're in an interesting spot right now because obviously like they still have the potential to be good, and they're not really locked into any like terrible contracts. The Strom contract's a little egregious for like the years, but I think it's like the money's fine, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like 5 seasons is a little much, but you know, hey, can you do?
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, they're pretty well like they're actually in a pretty good spot here.
I'd agree.
Yeah, predictions like wildcard team.
Yeah, fourth,
fourth,
fifth. Yeah, 4 to 6 is good.
I think we had everybody like most of this division 4 to 6.
Yeah.
So quickly, like I think we will have Carolina, New Jersey at the top of the division, right?
Yep.
And then the Rangers at 3.
Yep.
And then whoever you want of Pittsburgh, Washington.
Pittsburgh, Washington, Islanders is what I have 4 to 6.
Yeah, fair enough. Because I think Sorokin can kind of push into that. Any of those combinations, and then I'd probably go Columbus, Philadelphia. 7, 8.
That's pretty much.
Okay.
I think
There
it
you go.
probably won't change much after the offseason, too.
Yeah, I don't
I think
think
it's a
there's
pretty
unless somebody
cut
does
and
something
dry division.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like somebody could do something insane, but I think there's a pretty clear like Stanley Cup contenders, playoff contenders, rebuilding teams
Yeah.
section in this division. It's just like where those teams fall within those groups.
Right.
That
I don't think we set our draft picks for Washington before we ended off here.
where'd the pick? Michkov.
Yeah, I have Michkov too.
If you're picking in the top 10, not like outside of the top 4, you're taking Michkov. that's the
Yeah.
fit. If he isn't there, Benson's interesting. Ryan Leonard's interesting. Those kind of be the two
I'd
that I'd
agree.
throw around. I don't think Carlson drops to that low, but yeah. All right, I think that's it.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you guys for listening. Make sure you guys follow on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube. Full videos on YouTube. And yeah, where can they find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at BroalieTalksHockey. Sort of get back into the flow of things here. But yeah, you can find me there.
You said that every week.
I do. But no, it is picking up. It is picking up.
All right.
The DMs are going crazy. That's really all it is. And the stories.
Well, there you go. You guys can find me at NBA Hockey, mainly on Instagram, but sometimes on Twitter. And
yeah,
I think thank you guys for listening. We'll see you guys next week for the. We're going to be doing videos like this or podcasts like this up until the draft. So we have 4. Yeah. This is number 1. We're in the Pacific or
Central next. Yeah.
Central next. Yeah. Nights and 6.